Hello, biology students. We are going to begin our unit on cell division and reproduction. Some of this stuff is going to be a little familiar. We've talked, for example, I know we've talked about sexual reproduction versus asexual reproduction in the advantages and disadvantages of both. I wish I was there so we could have a whole discussion about it, but we'll talk about it when I get back. So sexual reproduction, remember we talked earlier in the year about why that's an advantage, that we really have that genetic diversity that occurs in sexual reproduction that really in asexual reproduction where everything is really just a clone of the parent. So we don't have that genetic diversity. So if a disease goes through the population, it can wipe out everything because no one is genetically superior than anyone else. Just some vocabulary, and please stop this. I have a 15-minute time limit when I'm recording these, so if you need to stop this to catch up on notes, please do that. Gametes are sex cells like egg or sperm in the case of humans. Gonads are the organs where sex cells are made, so ovaries if you're female, testes if you're a male, and then conjugation. I know this is mentioned in one of the Odyssey, where a type of reproduction in which one cell kind of empties its contents into another cell. This is common in really obviously very simple organisms. Fertilization by definition is just the fusion of gametes, so the fusion of egg and sperm, for example. And when you have a fertilized egg, we call that a zygote. So this is the result of two gametes fusing together, often called a fertilized egg. So that's what a zygote is. So very early on, we refer to it as a zygote. There are two different types of fertilization, one being internal fertilization. This means that fertilization of the egg actually happens on the inside of the organism. So obviously humans, that's what happens. Birds, that's what happens, because when that egg comes out of the bird, it's already been fertilized or not fertilized at that point. That doesn't happen after. But external fertilization does occur, and it's much more common in like fish or other aquatic organisms. So fish, oftentimes the female lays the eggs and then the male comes along later and spreads the sperm on top, and the eggs get fertilized after the female has expelled them from her body. And so that would be an example of external fertilization. And then homologous chromosomes. I know these are just vocab words that you need to know. So the word homologous, so homo means same or of the same type. So homologous chromosomes are chromosomes of the same type. We humans have 46 chromosomes, and we have pairs of chromosomes. So there are, we have 2 of chromosome number 1, we have 2 of chromosome number 2, and so on and so forth. Half of them we got from our mom, half of them we got from our dad. So this represents, this is the zygote. This represents that fertilized egg. And for some reason in this picture now they've added extra chromosomes in here. But the point that we really should see is that we have 3 here, and we should end up with 6 over here. So really we should end up with just those. And I don't know why. I guess they're just saying, okay, in a human egg, there's supposed to be 23 pairs. They're only showing us 6 pairs, and here they're actually showing us only 3. So, but these represent the 6 chromosomes that came from the egg and sperm. So chromosome number 1, chromosome number 2, chromosome number 3, and so on. So what is a chromosome anyway? Like, I keep referring to chromosomes, and we haven't really talked about what that is. Well, your chromosomes are just tightly coiled DNA. So this is how we keep our DNA nice and neat and tidy. in our cells. So each chromosome, and remember you have 46 of these in each of your cells, except sex cells are less. We'll talk about that later. There are half as many. But see, this is that double helix structure of DNA. And this is our genetic material that codes for all of the traits in our whole body. It tells your body what proteins to make your certain color hair, and whether it's curly or straight, and what pigments you have in your eyes, and so on. But I like to think of this as 46 of these is a lot of DNA to have in one cell. So it's important for us to keep our DNA neat and tidy. So in our cells, that DNA is tightly coiled around these globular proteins called histone proteins. So this DNA just winds around here, and then it continues to wind up until it makes this nice, neat little structure. I always think if any of you like knit or crochet, imagine if you had all of this, or embroider or anything like that, and you have all of this yarn or all of this string, and you have all these different colors. You need to kind of keep it organized. You wouldn't just take all of your yarn and throw it in a sewing basket or a basket of some type, just all unwound, because it would get tangled up, it might get damaged, it might get knots in that you can't get out, you might break it trying to get it apart. So the same thing in our cells. We have to keep our DNA kind of organized and neat and in an orderly manner. And so in our bodies, in our cells, it keeps it tightly coiled up in these nice, neat little chromosomes. So a chromosome is just tightly coiled strands of DNA. So we're just going to keep referring to them as chromosomes. But remember, this is your genetic material just in a nice little package. When it's unwound, because it has to unwind when it replicates, we refer to that as chromatin. And then those histones are the globular protein around which it coils. Chromatids, we actually say each side of this is a chromatid. So this is my wonderful drawing of exactly what this was. And then the centromere is this nice little glob. It's what holds it all together. It's the little glue piece that holds these two sides together. Because you'll see in mitosis and cell division, these two sides are going to actually pull apart from each other. So some of this is repetition. I already said humans have 46 chromosomes, unless something went wrong, which can sometimes happen, but we're supposed to have 46. In sexually reproducing organisms, chromosomes occur in pairs, and I mentioned this earlier, they're called homologous pairs of chromosomes, or homologs. It's the same thing. And when we have, as we do in our body cells, when we have two of each type of chromosome, we call that diploid or 2N cells. Di means two, so that kind of makes sense. So our cells in our bodies are diploid. We say that humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, which makes 46, right? Some of our cells, however, are haploid cells, and I always remember that because it sounds like half. So haploid cells refers to cells that don't have two of each type of chromosome. They only have one. They are haploid. Our egg and our sperm are the haploid cells in our body. Everything else is diploid. Egg and sperm have one of each type of chromosome. So tomorrow I'm going to have you work on a online lab where you actually have to complete human karyotyping. So karyotyping is just breaking open a cell and organizing all of the chromosomes into pairs. So chromosome number 1, and you should have 2 of them, and this is what they look like. And I can tell these are both chromosome number 1 because they kind of match. They look exactly the same. They don't kind of match, they exactly match. Chromosome number 2, same thing. Here's chromosome number 2. Chromosome number 3. You'll notice some of these are really short. The only ones that don't necessarily match, if you are male, so this is female, I can tell because they have 2 of the X chromosome. A male would have 1 X chromosome and 1 Y chromosome. And Y chromosomes are very tiny. Sorry, I'm drawing with the mouse, so it's not very accurate. Y chromosomes are really small. They don't have a lot of genetic information. They really just have just enough information to tell your body to make hormones that are going to make you exhibit male characteristics. Okay? So for tomorrow, I'm going to give you a website and a sheet to kind of work with, and you are going to complete a human karyotype, but something's going to be wrong with, you're going to have 3 patients, so you get to play doctor. You're going to have 3 patients that you have to complete the karyotype, and then there's a table that's going to give you some options of something's going to be wrong with each one of these karyotypes. There's going to be an extra chromosome or a chromosome missing for your patient, and you're going to have to diagnose them. And I promise it's super easy. You just have to look for it. There's a table that says it's either this disease, or that disease based on which chromosome you have too many of or too few of. So make sure you understand what a karyotype is. And again, I'll give you the website tomorrow to work from. So again, humans have 46 chromosomes. If the sex chromosomes are X, 1X and 1Y, that is a male. If the sex chromosomes are 2X, it is a female. So just really quickly, kind of the introduction to this chapter, we're going to talk about 3 different types of cell division. So first of all, the cell division that bacteria go through, and we're not going to spend very much time talking about this because it's pretty simple and straightforward. Bacteria just replicate everything and split, like it's pretty easy. And it's called binary fission, and we'll look a little bit at that process, but again, we won't spend a lot of time. We're going to spend a substantial amount of time talking about mitosis, which is the splitting of body cells, and I always remember that mitosis happens in the cells in my toe, so it's the division of body cells, like in my toe. And then meiosis is the division of sex cells, so this is where egg and sperm, the process by which egg and sperm get made, and we'll see and compare and contrast kind of how these are alike, and there's a lot of similarities, but also how they're different, because they are different. And that's where I'm going to stop today.